I live in Minnesota. There's a lot of Minnesota stuff in the news lately. And here, as well as everywhere else in the country and the world, there's just so much stuff going on. I feel like people are overwhelmed, they're tired, and they're sick and tired of fighting. There's so much drama and stress and legitimate problems. And so today we're going back to the basics. Just back to the basics. Breathing, relaxing our stress response, and then also we're talking about the gut. Welcome to the Health with Hashimoto's podcast. This is where you will find clarity and simple, sustainable strategies to feel better. I want to help you figure out your root causes. My name is Esther Youngkin. I am a registered nurse. I spent about 17 years in the emergency department and then got sick and tired of putting Band-Aids on chronic things. I went back to school and now I have been in holistic health education for about 10 years. I know how exhausting it is to live with fatigue, brain fog, and the ups and downs of Hashimoto's. And that is why I'm here. I'm here to cut through the confusion and to give you practical steps that support your body, calm your immune system so that you can regain your energy and feel like yourself again. And by the way, I live about an hour south of the Twin Cities. We have archery meets for my kids. They're in archery right now, and we've had to go through the cities. But all the stuff that you see on the news, at least if you're listening to this in real time, it is in Minneapolis, and that is not where our archery tournaments are. So my family and me, we're safe. We're not seeing any of that except for on the news like everybody else. All right, so first things first, let's take a deep breath. You've probably heard me say this before. Put one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly if you're not driving, if it's safe to do so. If you're in the middle of cooking supper and your hands are all gross, don't put a hand on your chest and a hand on your belly. But if you can, put one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly and take a deep breath. Which hand is moving? Is it the hand on your chest or your shoulders? Obviously, you don't have your hand on your shoulders, but you can kind of tell. If it is your upper body, your chest and your shoulders that are moving while you take a deep breath, it's actually sending a signal via your nervous system to tell every single cell in your body that you are stressed and that there's danger. It reinforces the stress response. If you're breathing with your belly, with your diaphragm, so your diaphragm is a really flat muscle that kind of goes underneath it does go underneath your ribs. And when you use your diaphragm, then your lower abdomen pooches out because your diaphragm is, pushing things out, making space, pulling the air in. Because you think about your breathing and you think it's coming from your lungs. It's actually your diaphragm pulling down and pulling the air into your lungs. Anyway, when you're breathing with your diaphragm, you're using the other half of your nervous system to tell every single cell in your body you're okay, to chill out, to relax. So as you listen to this first couple minutes of the Health with Hashimoto's podcast, take some deep breaths with your belly. Relax your jaw, relax your tongue, relax your neck, relax your forehead, drop your shoulders, take another deep breath, smile. That actually also helps lower your stress response. I think it was Bones or maybe Rizzoli and Isles. I can't remember. One of those two shows, I think it was Rizzoli and Isles. Both of them are like medical mystery shows that were on, back in the 2000s. And one of them said that if you put a pencil in between your back teeth, if you don't feel like smiling, putting that pencil there makes the same muscles go, so your brain still thinks that you're happy and it relaxes your stress response. I'm pretty sure it was Rizzoli and Isles. I don't know what episode it was. So if you feel like you can't smile, put a pencil in your mouth and bite down on it gently because it will also help lower your stress response. Honestly, I haven't fact checked that one. I learned it off of a sitcom. Is that what it would be called? I don't know, whatever, a situational drama, whatever. I learned it off of TV, a fictional show. Don't know if it's real. It sounds real. That's probably a whole other tangent we can go on. Things that sound real, but actually are not. But anyway, smile, relax all of those muscles. Take another deep breath because things are going to be okay. Every single day, I listen to, well, a bunch of podcasts. And one of them that I listen to it's from 1517 Network, and it is called the Christian History Almanac. He has 8-minute episodes about something on this day in history related to the church or Christian history. It's a fun podcast that I listen to on my drive home from dropping the boys off at their bus stop. Every single day at the end of the episode, he says, "Remember that the rumors of grace, forgiveness, and redemption of all things are true. Everything is going to be okay." The first time I heard that, I was like, you are talking about crazy, horrible things that happened in history. Like some of the things that you talk about, it's not okay. Some of the things going on in today's world are not okay. But that thing that he says every single day, grace, forgiveness, and the redemption of all things are true. Everything is going to be okay. It's not necessarily talking about right here and right now. We will have problems. We do have problems. There's problems all around the world. But in the end, if you are a Bible-believing person, you know that Jesus paid the penalty for everybody's sin. Anybody who's ever done anything wrong, which is all of us, your consequence has already been paid for. Somebody already took that consequence, and you have offered to you forgiveness and grace and forgiveness. And in the end, everything will be okay. We're going to enjoy heaven with Jesus, or he's going to create a new earth. No more pain, no more sorrow, no more tears, no more death, no more anything bad. As Sally Lloyd Jones, the author of one of the children's Bibles that I used to read to my kids, she writes, "Everything sad is going to come untrue." And isn't that beautiful? Sometimes I feel like we need to remember that, especially on weeks where the news is pretty heavy. So let's talk about gut health. I don't have an easy, soft transition, but just know that all of the stress that you hear and that you carry when you're eating, if you are eating in a stressed state, it impacts your gut. It impacts how you digest your food. Both of those things. And they're not the same thing. So how you digest your food is impacted by your current stress level. And that is why when I'm working one-on-one with a client, then I encourage them to set up times to have some just scheduled, stick it into your routine, deep diaphragmatic breathing. And I suggest always to do it before you eat and before you go to bed, because that half of your nervous system that's promoting relaxation, we colloquially call it rest and digest. So of course, you want to activate that half of your nervous system before you're resting, before bedtime, and before you're digesting, before you eat. So before you eat today, before you eat tomorrow, take some deep breaths with your belly and figure out for you what is the trigger that can help you remember to do that. Is it going to be when you sit down? Is it going to be after you give thanks for the food? What is it going to be for you to remind you to take some deep breaths, relax your jaw, relax your tongue, relax your shoulders, relax your neck, relax your forehead? What is it going to be for you to help you remember to do those things so that you can digest better? When you eat your food and you forget to chew it very well, you just, it's the 3 Gs: gobble, gulp, and go. We get into that pattern too much as a society. We gobble our food. We eat bites that are way too big. And then we gulp. We don't chew. We just swallow things way too whole. Technically, if you want good digestion, you would be chewing your food to applesauce or smoothie consistency. We don't do that. We gobble, and then we gulp our food, and then we go. So if you do the opposite of those, you're taking care of your digestion. When you swallow big chunks of food, especially food that could be sharp, you have an increased risk of increasing leaky gut. So this is not a guarantee. I'm not saying if you chew and swallow sharp things, then your intestines are going to get a hole in them. That is absolutely not what I'm saying. It doesn't usually happen, hardly ever. In fact, I remember hearing in my nat phys class back in college, there was a prisoner and he swallowed some razor blades, thinking that he would have some bleeding internally and he would get out of the jail for a while or prison, wherever he was. And they just did serial x-rays. So they did x-rays, every day or every 6 hours, whatever it was, because the razor blades passed through just fine. Not sure how he actually passed them out. I'm sure it was painful, but your gut can tolerate sharp things. But when you have sharp food in there, it does increase like the battering of your intestines. And so if you have leaky gut, it can contribute to making things worse. So that's a little bit how stress impacts your digestion. It does it in a lot of ways. Obviously, if you're not in rest and digest, if you're in fight and flight, your body is preparing to go. Your body wants to give all of the resources to your muscles so that you can run, you can flee, you can hide. And so your body is not focused on digesting. Stress also impacts the actual gut lining. So I talked in an episode or two ago about how your gut lining is this long tube. And so when you eat your food, it's technically not a part of you until it crosses over that barrier. The gut lining itself, if you stretch it out, it would be the size of a tennis court. And in most places, it's just a cell or two thick. So super, super thin and huge. When you are under stress, especially chronic stress, your gut lining thins some more and the little spaces between the cells increase. We call that leaky gut. Or if you want to be technical, it's intestinal permeability, how easily things can pass through. When you have Hashimoto's, there is a thing called molecular mimicry. And we know about that because of gluten. So I've talked about it in other episodes. I'm sure you've heard about it in other places. When we eat gluten, especially if we have leaky gut and that gluten crosses that permeable layer, your body will say, oh my goodness, this is the stuff we're attacking. This is the thyroid that we're attacking. So it mounts more of a response, sending you or could send you into an autoimmune flare-up. Flare, as I said in episode, I don't know, like 3 or 4 or 5. It was one of the early ones. I was like, what is a flare? Everybody talks about this as it's common knowledge, but I don't know what a flare is. A flare is a worsening, a flaring up of your symptoms. So everybody's flare can be a little bit different because everybody's symptoms are a little bit different. If you eat gluten, and that gluten crosses your gut barrier, and your body can be, oh my goodness, we're going to fight this. And you could have a worsening flare. You could also have that if you eat gluten at all. Although people do say, people who are way smarter than me, they say everybody who has an autoimmune condition does have leaky gut. So what can you do about that? Number one, we just talked for the last 13 minutes about lowering stress. We live in a stressful world, but we don't have to be in a stressed state all the time. You can do things to lower your stress. You can take 5 minutes every evening. You can write out the things that you're grateful for that day. You can take 5-10 minutes in the morning, spend some time in prayer and Bible reading. If you are not a Christian, you can still do that. I love the Abide app. I had an episode about it a while back, and any listener to this podcast can get free 30 days of premium for Abide. Every single morning, there's these meditations, calming, soothing, biblically focused. There's also things about gratitude. There's just so many good things on that. Some of the meditation and calming apps I just find spiritually dangerous. And so I love that I can recommend Abide if you want a peaceful way to start your day or to wind down at night. Check that out. I will put the link down in the show notes for the free 30 days. All right. So there are things that you can do to lower your stress response. But then also, let's talk about improving the gut lining itself. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about good, better, best options for eating for your microbiome. So in the good, we're going to talk about a foundational daily diet of fermented foods, getting probiotics and prebiotics into your diet somehow. And this might take a long time for you to work up to. You might not like anything fermented, including yogurt, including kefir, including kombucha, sauerkraut, homemade pickles, like all of this stuff. You're like, oh, gross. No, it can take a long time to work those into your diet, but that is a good foundation. So the good is that foundation of fermented food. And then better, getting more probiotics into your diet. If you're not getting them at least daily, but ideally at every meal, just small amounts, then you want to be supplementing. I'm going to talk about the best supplements that I have found on the market. And I love that there's always new gut health stuff coming out. Right now, I don't know about your social media feed, but my social media feed is probably once every, quarter, every half a year. I get inundated with ads for Seed, SEED, and they're green. I don't know if you've seen them because, ads are very individualized on social media. So if you have seen them, let me know. I would love to know if it's just me or if everybody is getting all of these ads all of a sudden. Seed is a very good microbiome supplement. They have a couple different types, and we're going to talk about that next week. And then I'm also going to talk about best, good, better, best. And the best one, it activates your gut to make more peptides or to slow down different peptides. The one I want to talk about right now specifically is zonulin. Zonulin, you might have heard about it. Maybe not. It is okay. I'm going to explain it. It is a peptide. So a peptide is like a messenger that your body makes. You might have heard a lot about injectable peptides because that's really big in the world of weight loss right now. Really, really big. But your body makes peptides. As you age and as you encounter different environmental threats, you make less peptides, or maybe you make more peptides. Less of the good ones, more of the bad ones. Zonulin is one of the bad ones, in my estimation, because what zonulin does is it increases leaky gut. It increases the spacing between those cells. So if we want nice, tight gut junctions so that stuff that's not supposed to get into our body doesn't get into our body, we don't want a lot of zonulin. Well, our gut naturally makes some, and in a lot of us, it's increased. So if I can take a product that tells my body to create less zonulin, then I'm super excited because I know that the downstream effect of zonulin is leaky gut. So I can assume that less zonulin means that my gut can heal. I don't know about you, but I'm working really hard on my gut. Really hard, because it's one of the foundational things that we can do for autoimmune health. We want to fix the cell. If you don't fix the cell, you're not going to get well. We have to address our cellular health. We also have to address our gut, the lining, that leaky gut, and also the microbiome. And then we also have to do other things like, sleep and decrease our stress, get enough hydration, get enough micronutrients. If you're not getting enough selenium, your body cannot convert your T4 to T3. I talked about those on, I think, the last episode or maybe 2 episodes ago. Yeah, because the last episode was an amazing interview. Have you listened to Dr. Jen Mann yet? If you have not, go back and listen to last week's episode. I absolutely loved talking with her and hearing the timeline. Quite honestly, I was going to go in another direction with the interview, but she had so much good information. I changed tracks and asked her about timeline and how she works with people. And I was just fascinated. I loved that interview. So I hope you did too. Okay, so anyway, back to zonulin. Your body makes it, and you can tell your body to make less. You can also tell your body to make more of helpful peptides. Of course, you've heard of GLP-1. That is a peptide. Did you know that there's also GLP-2? It makes sense, right? I mean, if they give it a number 1, then clearly there's probably a number 2. I never thought about it. Never thought about it until I heard that you can increase how much GLP-2 that your body is making. There's a lot of other peptides, GPP. I'm not even going to name all of them. I will in the next episode, or I'm going to have a guest who can explain them and explain how we can tell our body to heal. Every time I say that word or one of my guests says that word, I get a little uncomfortable. The word heal. Your body is created to heal. Your body knows what health feels like, and your body is always trying to get back there. Even when your immune system is attacking things, it's usually doing so with good intent. There are some very good theories that your thyroid collects a lot of toxins, heavy metals and things. We've talked about fluoride. We've talked about other things that your thyroid can collect. And so there are some theories that have pretty good basis that says one reason that your immune system is attacking your thyroid is because it's trying to get out the toxins. Your body is always trying to heal. But why does that word kind of get me uncomfortable? It's because the government has said you cannot talk about healing. That's why at the end of every episode, I say the standard disclaimer that it's for informational, educational purposes. I also say that if I talk about products, they're not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. I could say heal in there because those are some trigger words that the government doesn't want us as, anybody outside of a physician saying those words. And even if I was a physician, you are not my patient because we don't have a paying relationship. Yes, obviously, I have holistic health coaching, and I would love to help you with whatever your challenges are and help you figure out how you can be healthier, help your body do what your body wants to do. And that's always in the show notes, too, the link to hire me as your holistic health coach. But anyway, the word heal, it has a lot of baggage because the government says, that healing is only for medications. But we're going to talk about helping your body do what your body is designed to do. And next week is all about gut health. Good, better, best. I hope to see you then. Until then, keep taking nice, deep, relaxed breathing or breaths. Relax your jaw, relax your tongue, relax your neck, relax your shoulders, relax your forehead. You've got this. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. Please discuss any changes with your trusted healthcare provider. To take your next step, join our school community and explore the courses available there. You do not have to figure your health out alone. So that is school, SKOOL.com, and it is the Health with Hashimoto's community. I'll see you next time on the Health with Hashimoto's podcast.